Hey everyone, it's MGTOW Dad, or you can call me Steve-O. Happy late Father's Day. I had the kiddos up until today, so it's been interesting. And it got me thinking a lot about Father's Day. Again, this is a off-the-cuff rant, so I apologize. I'll do some editing to make sure it's not so incoherent like I tend to do when I ramble on. Before I do any of that, I hope everything's going well with you. You're taking care of yourselves and the ones you love. The weather has been crazy here with the girls. I've been exhausted because I've been pushing myself to make sure we're going out, going to the pool, going for walks and stuff. My nephew also spent the night, and that was just crazy. But again, a lot of fun, so I'm a little bit beat. I hope you're doing good. So I don't even remember. It was sometime late this week that it dawned on me that it was Father's Day. I don't mark the day that much because it was never a big deal for me growing up. And then this is kind of weird to say, but because I don't talk to anybody anymore, I don't wish people Happy Father's Day. So I also am not the person who just goes on social media and, Happy Father's Day to the fathers out there, and because that doesn't do anything for anybody. It makes the poster feel good for doing essentially nothing after convincing themselves that they've done something. But Father's Day is not important to me, and this is just individually. I'm not saying that it should be like this for everyone, and I can actually make arguments that it's not good to care as little about Father's Day. But it's not so much that I don't care about Father's Day. It's just, like, again, this may sound cliche in one way, but it's also, I don't know how I feel about this. I feel mainly good about it, but there's also negatives to it. But I'm just like a father every day, and to me, I don't do it for anybody's recognition. I always say being a father is, for me, and being a good father, a father who actually cares, is a duality of sorts, because I am raising my daughters every day, even my 6-year-old, who's going to be 7 next month. I'm raising them for the inevitability of the fact that one day they're going to have to make a decision where they can't call and say, I need Dad to help me fix this. They're going to have to depend on my fathering ability to instill in them not what to do in every situation, because you can't prepare your kid for every situation. I'm trying to do the impossible task of instilling in my kids before I die, and before they're in this position themselves again in the future, I'm not there. They have to rely on, not again, because if I can't paint every picture for them, but I can teach them to interpret scenes, give them ways to react, just all these different things, these different tools, we'll say. I'm preparing them for the day that they're not going to have me there. I don't know if I'm portraying that correctly, the duality of it, in that, like, I'm preparing them to get rid of me, to whether it's to go to college, get a job, move out of the country. Even my parenting will hopefully dictate that, because it's something trivial as, I don't want my daughters going to a place where they cannot have a firearm to protect themselves. That reason is, I'm a pretty big guy. I'm 6'2". My brother is 6'9". My ex is, I want to say, 5'6" or something like that. The reality of it is, if my kids go to some place and some guy like me or some guy like my brother wants to force themselves or force some things away from someone like my ex or my daughters, they can call 911 and hope and wait that what they're taking is not something as, key to life as life, or to other things that can be taken away, or to, the physical things, the monetary things, the valuable things. Then there's the trauma of having that happen, and the loss of the security in yourself, that you always want to have security, feel safe, and then you lose that when something like that happens. I don't want my kids to do that. I want my kids to have the foresight to see the robber coming, not to be on their cell phone or looking for their purse and their keys on their doorstep, not behind them. And my point is, all of these things go into being a father, because again, I know one day my kids aren't going to be able to have that luxury. I'm just always, when I don't have my kids, again, I do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Right now, I'm doing this to get this out of the way. Then I'm going to start doing laundry, and all I'm doing right now is trying to prepare for getting my kids back with me as soon as I can, before I get my kids, before they come back. So again, I don't just wait for my custody to come before I see my kids. And I'd argue at sometimes I'm dumb about it, because I push myself a little too hard. Again, I'm 100% disabled through the military, getting old, and some days I just don't make the best decisions. But if I don't, it's at the expense of making sure I can spend time with my kids, not the opposite, not trying to avoid my kids because I'm tired. It's, man, I'm tired, so what other things can I do to be able to see my kids even though I'm tired? And it's not always the best. Sometimes I need to rest, but again, I'm aware of that, and I make informed decisions. Sometimes they may not seem as if they're right in hindsight, but in the moment, like I say, if I can be spending time with my kids and lose a little bit of sleep, or have a sore back, or have to do laundry 2 or 3 days after I kind of feel better, it is what it is. And it does bother me a lot that I guess it's not so much only on Father's Day, but I do think about this a lot, and I've been wanting to do a video on it, so why not do it here in this rant? But it does bother me that people don't get that, and people don't do the same. I say we view the world through the lens of our own bias, and I see parents without their kids, and I see parents not fighting to see their kids, being content with that. And I don't mean it confrontationally, as in take your kids from your ex or significant, whatever the case is, but fight yourself to see them. I can't, when I can't see my kids, I never wanted to get divorced. This is one of the ironies about being a MGTOW myself. I never wanted to get divorced, so I never wanted to I never signed up for putting myself in a position. I never desired to be in a position where I can only see my kids half of the time. And now, for a little more context, when I say I can see them half the time, that's the time that they're at my ex's. So, granted, I see them when they're at my ex's, but I'm talking now when the time that they're at my place. They spend the night at other places. They have school during the school year, which is the majority of the year. So even at my time when I, quote, have my girls, I don't always have them. And I don't want that. Again, it almost, I did a video where I compared being raped to being divorced, and the emotional trauma of having something taken to you, more so in and getting things taken from you, but then losing the comfort and security of knowing you can't lose these things, or if you do things right or whatever, people you care about won't do these things. And again, it's traumatizing, and I'm trying to make the best of it. And I often say I suffer gracefully, but it's tough. And then I see other parents just, if we're at the pool, I'm watching my kids or watching them in the pool or just looking around, and it's from both this, I want to see my kids having this much fun, but then I also got to worry about them being safe in a pool and not running and all that stuff. And I see parents just twerking at a pool, face deep in their phones, and then and again, it really bothers me. And a lot of them, then I see their kids, the way they act, and I don't ever blame the kid, because problem in that equation, or I guess that's kind of redundant, but the factor making the kid not behaved is obvious when the parents not watching their kid misbehave because they're on their phone. And people casually raise their kids not realizing that you don't get the time to put back into you can't go back and then do more. It's done. And I see it in the lack of character in people. They're not being raised by parents. They're being raised by devices, by society instead of the parents. And that means they're not being raised. And again, going back to psychology, there are many things that you can't instill in kids later. And there are many things that are nuanced that you instill in kids mainly by example, not just by saying words like, be good, behave. Well, mom says to behave and then she goes and twerks at a pool. So that's behaving well. Or mom's on the phone screaming and cussing about some guy said something on Facebook. And I know mom is good because mom is my example and bastion and shining example in the darkness of what's good. I want to always emulate mom. And mom is right now telling this N-word that he effing needs to shut his effing mouth on the phone. So me, the 6-year-old, is going to go tell my friend that. Now, you're normalizing that. Or you're putting your kid in a situation where they think it's normal. So they go and tell my kid the N-word, the effing thing. Then you as the parent need to either say, oh, my kid can say that, or ground them for it. So now you're in a position where you're like, hey kid, be good, but also don't be like mom, because you think mom is good, then you do what mom does, which is say the same things that mom or dad does, and then you're in trouble for it. So is mom not good? How does this work? Do I be like mom or not be like mom? What is good? So be like good means not be like mom, or does, again, a 6 and 7-year-old is not supposed to have to navigate that. They're supposed to be like mom and dad. Mom doesn't ignore me to talk on the phone, so I don't ignore other people to talk on the phone. Mom says F this, dad says shut your effing mouth that, so I'm going to say the same thing. Again, even as you tell that kid not to do it or to do, they're going to emulate. And you don't, again, you wake up, your kid is 12 years old and you realize they're out of control. Then you want to blame the teachers. If you're divorced, you'll blame your ex. You'll blame their friend. You'll blame anybody, but you won't sit there and say that I basically neglected my kid for these 12 years. And now I don't get why they don't have any respect. I'm telling them, and I'll show them in the dictionary the definition of respect. I was never respectful to other people. I was rude to people. I would yell at people in drive-thrus. I would be rude talking about my ex. I would bash my ex on the phone. I would talk rude about other people. I'd cuss about people. I'd be racist and sexist in front of other people. But I told my kid not to do all that while I was doing all those things. I told them, and again, I this may be a anecdotal, not even anecdotal, but I'm creating it, but I often say then you have 18-year-olds who go to college one day and their whole lives they were not given the tools to learn to do things, to make good decisions, to discern bad decisions out from the other ones, to assess, risk versus reward and all that. They were just told that mom said do this, dad says don't do that, so that's what I do. They said take these classes, so I did it. They said don't drink, so I didn't. They said don't hang out with those people, so I didn't. They said you're allowed to hang out with them. They said you're going to take these classes, you're going to go to college, you're going to major in this, I want you to do this. Don't hang out with them, don't drive after this time, don't drive over this, don't drive there, don't go there, don't do this. So their whole lives they were not being taught how to make decisions, they were being told what to do. Then they become an 18-year-old and they go to college one day, not being told that when someone tells them to do something they should think about it. So they meet, again, like the senior, someone says, "Oh, you got Professor O. That guy's exams are easy. He gives you all the stuff. In fact, I got a bunch of stuff that'll help you. Let's go party. Oh, you got some extra money? You can't get money? You're only 19, 18, 20? Give me the money. We'll get you some beer. We'll go hang out. We'll go do all these things. And don't worry, yeah, look, if you don't do their assignment tomorrow, they always give you a thing, and they'll only take off 10%. All these things, blah, blah, blah." Now, what I want my kid to do is stop and say, "Man, Dad didn't tell me not to do this with this person. Dad didn't say, if a person in college comes and says that you should skip your classes but then come hang out with by the list, Dad didn't make it. No, but I'm not here to drink. That's illegal. You know, Dad doesn't go around getting sloshed all the time. When Dad has something to do the next day, he's not drunk and partying. So maybe I shouldn't do that." Or you can have the kid who says, "Well, Dad told me a bunch of things and I always listen. And now this person is here. They're a senior. They know what they're doing, so I should listen to them." Obviously. Those are the suckers and the fools that we as parents are creating. My kids are going to have to be friends with and be significant others and neighbors and have to trust on the road your kids, your garbage kids, the way and that bothers me. And again, you're not going to be able to go back. Cycles are not always broken. I see cycles repeated daily within and without of my family. So I know some percentage of those idiot parents raising idiot kids are going to become idiots, then idiot parents to raise several idiot kids. And while the reverse is true, that you can have good parents and have them come out bad, I wager it's just that they directly correlate. They're not inversely correlated, or there's no correlation. Generally speaking, the kid will be at 2 degrees repeating those things that you either instill or fail to instill in your kids. So be better. Father's Day should matter to me more, and it probably would matter to me more if I was relevant in society, if people cared, but I don't see anyone, I don't get any messages, so, Father's Day to me is just another day. I just always want to be with my kids. If you have kids, you should too. If not, you should probably be ashamed of yourself. Or if you're in a situation where wholeheartedly you want to see your kids and you can't because of whatever, because there are a myriad of reasons why that happens today to males, I'm sorry for you, and keep fighting, keep staying strong. And I only hope that, as I mentioned, when your kid gets to that age where they start thinking and start seeing the world for themselves and start asking their own questions, hopefully your ex didn't ruin them and ignore them so much that, again, those are not questions that they're going to be asking. So I hope everything's going well with you. You're taking care of yourselves and the ones you love. I'm going to do another video here, so go easy.